Hi, I'm Kathy Callahan Brady, and welcome to In the Trenches. This is one of my funnest things to do, and today we have a very special guest with us. This is Daemon Price from
Meridian Technology Systems.
All right, very cool, thank you. So, In the Trenches, did they even tell you what this is and what you're in for?
Not at all. I'm here strictly because of you, Kathy. You ask, I show up, and I deliver. So,
all right, so In the Trenches actually means we're not going to do the networking thing of how perfect everything is and how easy it is to start and run a business and be successful. We're going to help other entrepreneurs what to watch out for and things along those lines.
Excellent.
But we need to start with, so what is Meridian Technologies?
Sure. Meridian Technology Systems is a hardware security technology company. We started about 6 years ago, and we specialize in providing facility security capabilities for areas like critical infrastructure, plants, energy plants, water plants, this sort of thing. And they have specialized computer systems in the middle of their normal infrastructure that are not built with normal security into it. And it's a real flashpoint for hackers right now. It's a major concern in the U.S. as well as around the world. And so Meridian provides a capability that uniquely goes in and helps to harden and secure those endpoint devices.
Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Who are some of your clients and your customers? Who do you work with?
Sure. So we work with government and commercial sort of equally. In the critical infrastructure space, it's a unique environment because while most of these plants are owned and operated by commercial entities and private entities, there's a lot of oversight and cooperation and compliance control with the government. So it's very much a partnership between the two entities that do this. So we find ourselves working both with commercial folks that run the plants and manage the plants, at the same time working with the government oversight folks. So we work with Cybercom, we work with places like FBI, intelligence community, Department of Defense, a lot of Department of Energy, as you can imagine, for places like nuclear plants and things like that.
Yeah, that would be kind of important.
It is. A little bit.
So you started 6 years ago and you were an overnight success.
Absolutely, right? Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
right. No, tell me the truth.
Yeah, starting a company is probably the endeavor of the insane among us that have determined that they don't want to enjoy their lives anymore or contribute anything else to society or have a life. So they're like, what can I do to really make myself miserable? I'll start a company. Now, in all seriousness, it is you have to have a passion for it. You have to have a passion for whatever your product or service or offering is, because you will be working way more than 40 hours a week. You have to be driven and motivated to deliver whatever that is for your customer and to do all of the things in a given day that actually have nothing to do with actually, delivering on that product or service. Entire days can be spent just working on operations and administration and then funding tasks and everything else. And you can sit there after a very long day and wonder, did I actually work on hardware security today? Because I thought I was working on hardware security, right? But it's a process, so you have to go through this. And I think it starts with, and a big thing that the FITSE, the EDGE program, helped me with doing, even being 6 years in, is helped to for me to sort of understand and define what it is that I needed, where were the gaps and the holes. And so you really have to do a lot of introspection and have honest conversations with yourself and realize, the breadth of where it is that you have capability and where it is that you still need capability, and you can't be above going and asking for help and seeking it. No one else is going to make your business a success. It has to be you.
Well, you were very open and transparent during that entire 12 weeks, and I really believe that, well, you're the winner. You actually won out of all of it. But I think that was a really big portion of it. You were also trying to make everybody else successful, which I thought was amazing. There was a lot of different things about that. I mean, people hate customer discovery.
It's painful.
It is painful.
It's very painful.
Most important thing that we can possibly do to save us time and money. And I think your entire pitch, like I'd love to go back and look at the very first
Oh, it's painful.
pitch.
Don't make us do that. Don't do that.
And then,
right.
yes, but your pitches were so amazing at that 12th week. And I think part of it is by talking to the customers, then you know how to speak to them too. When you were talking to us, I remember the first couple, we were like, what the heck does he do?
What?
Yes. So,
yeah, it's true. I mean, an important key piece, like I was talking about before, is that discovery and the willingness to have an honest conversation with yourself. Not only about, discovering your product, your customer, your market, making sure that you actually have a viable business opportunity and you're going about it the right way, but then be open to the fact of, okay, well, I need to pivot. Important word, right? I need to pivot slightly from what I thought it was into what it really is. And so it's so critical to go and have those customer decisions and those conversations. And in fact, out of that is not only how I found the specific pivot that I need that I'm having success with now, but it's actually how I found both initial customers that I think are going to be our first adopters, and it's actually how I then got introduced to the people that I think are now going to be our first investors in the company.
Sweet.
All because of the customer discovery.
Sweet.
Right.
I absolutely love that. Well, we can just end with that, right?
That's it, right.
But I think you talked about it right at the very beginning, having that grit and determination. So why what you're doing? What is it about that you love that you started it? Why in the world did you do this particular one?
Right. Why not underwater basket weaving or something else, right? Which I do have a degree in, so I have a passion for that too. No, it's true. You have to have a passion for it. I mean, walking down the main street here at Frederick is a great example. All of these businesses that are in here are people that were passionate about their given area, whatever it is. There's a record store down there. Someone loves music and vinyl, and it's what they live and breathe every day. I get it. What I live and breathe every day, and I have for my entire career, is cybersecurity. So I started off an information security officer almost 30 years ago. Hopefully we can edit that part.
Yeah.
But, my first job in information security, and people don't believe this sometimes, but it's true. My first job was I had a whole bunch of other duties during the day, and then they gave me a key, and they said, okay, Daemon, at the end of the day, make sure that filing cabinet over there is locked. That way our information is secure. So that was the world that I started in. And then I started out also doing development and coding for a living. I realized that was not going to be my gift to the planet Earth, was doing my coding skills. And so I decided to get into the business side of doing development work. And this really opened up a whole new world of what are the challenges for customers, what are the technology capabilities that are out there, what are the needs, and then starting to put these pieces together. And so, of course, across the course of my career, I worked in all aspects that's now considered cybersecurity. So starting off in doing biometrics, multi-factor authentication, access controls, what's now called IDAM, Identity Access Management, all the way up to the advent of cloud and then mobility and binding users to devices and devices to data and data to systems. This is all very complicated stuff, but it's just something that I think about all the time, and I love it because, to put a pitch in from my little corner of the world, cybersecurity is really the foundation of what it is that allows us to have our democracy, not only in practice, but in thought and mindset, so that everybody really is equal and has an equal share and stake in the world. So I like to say that my founding vision and my mission is this, that I just want to secure data from misappropriation and misuse by others. So that means that an individual gets the benefit of whatever it is that they bring to the planet naturally. If that means that we're going to solve, energy crisis and invent cold fusion by some little tribal girl that lives in sub-Saharan Africa who happens to have the epiphany on how cold fusion on tabletop works, well, then she should be noted in history and get all the benefits of that, brilliance that is hers, as opposed to it being stolen by some country or multinational organization on the other side of the planet. That's what I'm about.
You just told me exactly who you are. You're a Boy Scout.
I am. I was in the Boy Scouts, as a matter of fact.
And that's what I noticed in the class. You walked around, you wanted everyone else to be successful. You were the greatest cheerleader for everybody else as much as you were for your own business.
Well, I try to be, because
awesome.
it's a mindset also. So I come from a long line of doing business development in the cybersecurity world too. And one thing that I have noted is that the way that you get to success is not on your own. You never get to success on your own. You get to success by teaming, by partnering, by nurturing others, giving them when you don't necessarily have anything to follow through, to ask forth from them. And then this comes back around and it really does help you. So that's the mindset and mentality I have. You take that, you add it to the fact that I'm just a technology geek at heart and an entrepreneur by mindset. And then I find fascinating everyone's technology. And so the hard part for me then is just to walk through and try to give the feedback to them,
And not get excited about
and not get too excited, but also not to deliver them something that, if someone has less experience than I do, that I don't say something in a way that is too debilitating to them. Because if I ever find myself doing that, the first thing I'll say after that is like, but don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're the one passionate about your technology. You go and do this. But I do, the class that I was in, my cohort was just amazing people with phenomenal technologies. And literally the moment I become, a quadrillionaire, I plan on investing in, all of those technologies because they really were great tech by very passionate people doing their thing.
That's for sure. Yeah, I feel very lucky doing what I do because I get to help people's dreams come true, and I think it's such a, I think it's the worst thing you can possibly do is shatter somebody's dream. So
you got to support. You got to support.
Exactly.
Right.
So in your long quest, can you recommend a book or a quote or something that was really impactful to you that really helped to shift or pivot you?
There've been so many. Which is a trope, but it really is true, especially with my age and my career. I've had the benefit of so many great people to work with, and I'll also say that it's the benefit of experience and working with some people that aren't so great. I always think that you should be learning from whatever environment that you're in. If it's a very nurturing, supportive, positive environment like what you all created, that's wonderful. But you know what? You also need to be open to learning from less than perfect environments too. There's a lesson to be learned everywhere. You might not like the lesson, but there's a lesson to be learned everywhere. So you should be ingesting all of that, and again, always have that honest, conversation with yourself. I think a couple of things that pop out to me is, you have to pursue things that are passions of yours. You can't adopt someone else's passion.
That's for
It
sure.
doesn't really work if you're talking about starting a company because it just takes too much. It has to be something that, you have to be open to finding that customer discovery and then pivoting to what is going to be your path to success. Realizing that doesn't have to be the definition of what your company ends up in the end, but it's a means to an end. If in order to, the gentleman down the road that sells the vinyl records, if this means that he first has to fulfill a huge order from someone that's just like, just give me 8-track tapes. I'm an 8-track tape guy, just give me that. Okay, but then by doing that, you're going to give me the money that allows me to go out and start this business. Well, then I'm going to go find some 8-track tapes for you. You have to be open to, doing what's required to get from point A to point B, but then also listening to your customers. I think a mistake that a lot of us make when we start our companies is that we listen to that great little, voice in our own brains, or we talk to friends, family, colleagues, all of whom are cheerleaders, and they're just like, that is so awesome, and you are 100% correct, and no one else could possibly do this better than you. That's wonderful for that level of support. It's also not a reality check.
Right.
You need that reality check of going to the people that,
are going to write a check.
Going to write a check, going to buy your product, are the ones that actually make you have a business. So you have to be open to pivoting to that. And then I guess the one other thing I would say is, maintain that focus once you figured out what it is that you're doing, which seems a little counterintuitive to the thing I just said a second ago, but there are different stages to a company. There's, your startup stage, then you're finding yourself, your MVP, you're getting out into the marketplace, funding if you're going to go that direction. But once you start to get to that point to where other people have an investment and, invested not just in dollars, but, in their lives and their time. Most important thing any of us have, right, is our time, which is why you're so great because you invest your time with all of us and appreciate it. But in doing all of this, the number one thing that people have to have is that ability to then say, okay, we now are to a point to where we have to make sure that we maintain the correct focus and strive toward that vision. And then don't let things distract you from going there. It's very easy to get distracted, but you can't do it.
Boy, that's for sure. As entrepreneurs, we're just such, it's like squirrel, and we go off into another direction.
I call it shiny bauble syndrome.
Yeah.
Going, that's really cool. I should chase that. No.
Yeah,
and you want those people around you.
Hell.
Yeah, and you need those people around there that are going to go, no. I thought we were doing this.
Right.
This is our 18-month plan.
Exactly.
Why is this here? No. We ignore. Let's keep going on this.
All right.
Very
so
important.
The lessons are we really are not brilliant in our own minds.
No. I've met a handful of legitimately, and just a handful in my days on this planet, a handful of truly legitimate geniuses, all into their own right, that have done things on their own. It is that it's that trope, that idea, people starting this thing in the garage and they had this epiphany, they woke up in the middle of the night, and then they invent this amazing thing on their own. It's not the way it's really
It's pretty rare.
done. That's very, very, very rare. More often than that, it's people that just go, hey, I wish somebody offered the following. This is very cool. I don't see anybody else doing it. I guess I'm going to do it.
Well, it's interesting when I look back over the 3.5 years with just the clients that we have, and I look at every one of them go quarter to quarter in the advisory boards.
Yeah.
The ones that are really making progress are the ones that are coming prepared. They do their homework. They've got their goals. They're listening. They're open. They're transparent. It's not that they're sitting here trying to convince the advisors how great they really are.
Right, yeah, that doesn't work.
And they're really making the progress. So you're a great model of that.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
So it's really fun to have you, and thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
really appreciate it.
This is awesome. Again, I've loved the program right here. I just hated the fact that it ended.
I know.
We're all going to try to find something that is beyond the edge. We're already
Yep.
inventing your
I
next
know.
cohort program
I know.
for you. So we're going to
Well,
make
when
that
we were
happen.
sitting there afterwards, I was already going, but they need to know this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much, and 12 weeks alone, even doing all the time that we did, and the special extra events that you had in there, all of which I think should be mandatory in the future for everybody. Even with that, it's you come out of it kind of going, okay, I know so much more now, and unfortunately, I know so much more that I still need to do.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Right.
Right. But it's there's always a next page.
Yes, there is. It's all a journey, that's for sure.
It is, absolutely, and it's
Well,
fun.
Thank you for being on this. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching In the Trenches. You can learn more about our clients as well as our advisors and really the behind the scenes of FITSE as well at fitse.org. Have a great day.